Hello, Teal Nation. I'm Sam Wiederhaupt, back with another round of the Chant Pod, presented by Revolution Mortgage. Hope your summer's been going well so far. We've been gearing up for our fall season here in Conway, which is quickly approaching. Football is in the middle of their fall camp, and we've heard from their coordinators the past few episodes, but the first sport to get going, soccer. Exhibitions are underway, and our women's soccer team is preparing to build on their success from last year. The Chants made it to the Sun Belt semifinals last season and have many key players returning. It's head coach Joe Chubb's third season in Teal, and she's our guest this week. We talked in the press box at the awesome CCU Soccer Stadium, which is only getting better in its second year, and Coach is really excited about this year's group. We talked about her success last season, how she's prepared during the summer, and which players to watch out for this year. So let's hear from Coach. Here's my conversation with Joe Chubb. Well, fall sports are right around the corner. Women's soccer season is coming up, and on the Chant Pod this week, presented by Revolution Mortgage, we have their head coach, Joe Chubb. Coach, appreciate the time. Thanks for coming on.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Coach, like I said, women's soccer season coming up here. You guys got scrimmages next week. But, just how's the summer been so far? What have you been up to?
It's been good. It's felt long because we've just wanted to get out there. Obviously, we can't work with them too much in the summer. We can, give them a packet to voluntarily follow. A lot of them play summer league, so they're playing year round, which is nice, so they don't lose too much fitness and stuff. For us, my staff and I, we've been heavily recruiting. Women's soccer, it happens very early, so sometime in June we're able to start talking to the kids that graduate in 2027 from high school, which seems crazy.
Yeah.
But so lots of conversations, lots of Zooms, lots of going out and finding some top talent to hopefully play here in the next couple of years.
It really seems like there is no off season. You guys are always doing something.
Yeah.
But talking about the actual in season, I mean, it goes from August until about November.
Yep.
And then you've got all those other months of the off season. What do you think is your favorite part of the off season?
I think this is an unpopular opinion, but I really like the spring. Obviously, we can't play too many games, but for us, we're a staff that so heavily focuses on development anyway, that the spring, without the pressure of games, without the focus and the scouting of games, we're able to just focus on our team and our players, both collectively and individually. So I love the spring. We get a bit antsy at the end because we want to play, but having that time to really focus on them and focus on them individually and collectively and make them better to prepare them for season is fun.
I mean, you mentioned going out and recruiting and doing Zoom calls and making visits. Where are some places that you've been? Have you been able to kind of pair that with some vacation time?
Unfortunately, not this year. But we've been a little bit all over the place. So we're fortunate actually in May and in June. There's a couple of big events just up in North Carolina, so it's close by, which is nice. So we're not away for too long. But we've been up to Virginia, out to California. So lots of travel. But I think even more than that, that happens throughout the year as well. So the January, February months is big for recruiting for us. November, December is big for recruiting for us. So the summer in particular is actually more kind of gathering that database and finding out, who do we want to make phone calls to, who's making the phone calls, what are we doing on the Zoom. So a lot of the preparation comes to fruition in these summer months, which is enjoyable.
This is going into your third season at Coastal Carolina.
Yeah.
What have you noticed about just the soccer scene in the Carolinas at the lower levels, the high school levels? What have you kind of noticed about that?
Yeah, it's growing. It's a real hotbed for talent. I think that was the biggest thing. And upon taking this job, it was a large appeal for me because I knew that there was so much talent close by. You've got to look 3 hours north of here, even professional teams, and you've got your Dukes and your UNCs and your Wake Forests up there. Like there's so much talent at the collegiate level, at the high school level, at club level. Some of the best clubs in the country are based in North and South Carolina. So, which is fortunate. We don't have to travel too far to find it or to see it. But it's also nice because, obviously we live in a beautiful place and a lot of players want to stay close to home, which is nice. There
could be some top tier talent on this field. The news coming out a few weeks ago that Coastal could be a World Cup training site. What was your reaction to that news when that came out?
I was so excited. Obviously, I think the first thing I emailed to Chance was, how can we get England here?
Yeah, of course.
So I think, for me, obviously, following it since, the same as everyone else, since I was a real young age, being a big fan of my national team, knowing that, one, the World Cup in general is going to be in America is incredible, but knowing that we could host the team here, it puts Coastal on a global stage, essentially. And it speaks volumes about what we have going on here, what the facility is to host a world-class team. It epitomizes what Coastal currently is, and more importantly, where it's going. And
this is going to be just the second year of this brand new facility, and even coming into this year, there's going to be upgrades that weren't even seen last year. So you're going to see this more at a full capacity. But just how awesome has it been to have this facility, this stadium, and how much of a difference maker has it been for your program?
It's huge. We now show it off to recruits. The girls feel like they have a place that they can play that they're so proud of, and I think there's more to that. We're like, let's defend our house. Let's make sure that we are as good as we can possibly be here. I think there's so much to be said for that. But being able to showcase it to current players, to future players, to this is where you can come and play. You get to play at a facility that, the grass looks like this, the facility as a whole looks like this, your picture, your goals are on the big screen up there. There's nothing like it for a player. So it's nice to be able to have a facility that we can be incredibly proud of.
And it's a soccer specific facility, which not a lot of schools have, it's huge to have. Yeah. At what point in the off-season schedule, we talked about recruiting and going out there and even talking to players that are in the class of 2027. But at what point does it switch, like, all right, we got our girls for this year, and you're focusing on 2025?
Yeah, I think definitely we love the preparation stage, my staff and I. So I think all through the summer, as soon as they left in May, we were like, all right, pre-season, let's turn our attention to that. Like, how can we, we're looking back on film from last year, we're planning sessions, we're planning scouts, we're planning video, like evolving the way that we play. I think when I arrived here, I kind of had a 4-year plan in place. Last year exceeded some expectation, which was nice, and it allowed us to accelerate things a little bit. So I think straight away it was we had a really successful spring. I feel like the team as a whole grew a lot. So it was now, how can we continue to evolve? What areas do we need to heavily focus on? So I don't think we switch off from it really in the summer at all, but I think especially the past couple of weeks, our last recruiting event was about 3 weeks ago. So once we got back from that one, it was okay, now attention turns to day one of pre-season. What do those sessions look like? What are the loads from a GPS, from a load standpoint? How hard do we want to work them at certain times? How can we peak at certain times? Lots of little pieces kind of integrated into it as a whole to make sure that, one, we can be healthy. 2, we learn as much about each other as possible because we've got a lot of new faces. And then, finally, how can we be ready to compete on August 14th when it really counts?
I mean, you mentioned to me before this interview that the team is starting to trickle in now, and you're starting to get the group here. You got scrimmages coming up in early August. What are your first impressions of the group? How do they look right now?
They're honestly, and I'm sure lots of people say this, they're incredibly talented, but more than that, they're such wonderful people. They're so fun to be around. Some of them have known each other 2 days, but they're laughing and joking and bantering and making fun of each other. And I'm like, this is going to be a fun group. And I would rather be that coach that has to say, all right, girls, now let's focus, because they're having so much fun.
Yeah.
But I think there's a real common goal within the group. They all have a massive desire to be successful. So many of them have aspirations to play after college, which I think is an added motivation for them as well. And I think, for the first time, I think we have a massive commonality of wanting to get better at every single day. And that was a feeling that I got from being around them just for a couple of days here and there. So I'm sure that is intensified when they're all around each other as a group. And then we start with them next week. So hopefully that comes to fruition then.
You got 10 freshmen, I believe it is, coming in on this group. A good amount of transfers, a lot of returners as well, which we'll get into. But are you a coach that likes to set team bonding activities, like, all right, this day we're going to get away from the field and do this? And, have you guys been kind of getting into that group now?
Yeah, I think we have to. So you're right, we've got a few returners, but I think we worked out the other day, I think 73% of the team are freshmen and sophomores. So although we're very talented, we're very young. And, I'm a huge believer that culture is the byproduct of the environment that we create every day. So we have to make sure that, yes, the environment is competitive, that it's intense for them, and that it's an environment that they can grow in. But more importantly than that, between each other, between the coaching staff and the players, we have to have a really high level of trust so we can have those difficult conversations, so we can be comfortable being uncomfortable with each other. And in order to grow that trust, it doesn't happen overnight. So we have to spend some real valuable time with each other. So we've got a few ideas up our sleeve for pre-season as to how we can get them to know each other a little better pretty quickly. So hopefully they can gel as a group and hit the ground running.
Last season you mentioned exceeded expectations. It was so fun to watch on ESPN Plus. You guys play up into the Sun Belt semifinals. You upset South Alabama 2-1 in that first match. Yeah. What were your feelings as the head coach after last season?
Yeah, it was. I was really, really so proud of the group. And it was a perfect environment set, and I think it was a great depiction of the girls' work that they put in every single day. Obviously we as coaches can only do so much, and they were so bought in, they were so invested, and again that desire to be at their best. I think as a group the team hadn't been to the conference tournament in a few years, so I think for them there was a real excitement for that. And then once we were there, we held no prisoners. It was a case of, look, we're here, like we're going to have no regrets, we're going to hold nothing back, and we weren't afraid of anybody. It was cool playing South because we hadn't played them in the regular season, so it was nice to play a new opponent there as well. And
a staff that you used to be on as well.
Yeah. So I saw like one of our old bosses when she was there, and we still talk, and we're still really close to this day. So it was really great to see them, and it's a place that I have a lot of love and respect for. So it was a cool way to start the tournament, and we were fortunate that we were able to put in one of our best performances of the season in that game. And I think after that they felt anything was possible, which that's hopefully the mindset that we can now take into this coming season, and go from there.
Just going from your first year, 3 wins, and you mentioned your 4-year plan. Year 2, 8 wins, a Sun Belt semifinal appearance. Just for you to see that your system is working, how does that feel?
Yeah, it's relieving. It's nice, and I think the thing about it was the way that we want to play. It's got somewhat of a complexity to it, to where it's something that we have to look to evolve every year, and whether that's bringing in additional types of players, different caliber of players, different players that can complement each other. And I think the exciting thing about this year is we have added depth in certain areas that we didn't have last year. We have some different tricks up our sleeves, to where we have players that offer differences to ones that we had last year as well. So we can be a lot less predictable, which is really exciting. And I think it's a way where the game, we have to be able to evolve, and it has certain layers to it. So this year we're again hopefully adding an additional layer to what we're already able to maintain. So I think it should be hopefully even more exciting, and hopefully it continues to work essentially.
I want to touch on some of those big returners that you have. The first one, the girl that scored 2 goals in the South Alabama game, Julia Ziegenfuss.
Yes.
Just for her to have a performance like that, she was named the All Sun Belt tournament team after the tournament. Just to have a performance like that at the highest stage, what do you think that meant?
I think Ziggs is such an interesting character because she's so calm and collected all the time. And she's one where she'll score a couple of incredible goals like that and almost seem embarrassed to do it. She's so modest. She's a real student of the game. She's so bought in, she's so invested, but the best thing about her is she retains everything as well, and she'll take something from the film room onto the field and be able to implement it immediately. She's a real asset to us, and she will be this year as well. We've tried to add a couple of pieces to her game as well to make her even more dangerous. And again, that's an area where we now have added depth as well, so we can give her a break now and again, which will be nice. She racked up a lot of minutes last season, so it'll be nice to be able to do that as well. But she's one that we're very, very excited about.
Let me talk about Eleanor Ashton, because she burst on the scene as a freshman. Seemed like she was a factor in every single game. 8 goals, that was top 10 in the Sun Belt. She was all Sun Belt second team at the end of the year. Just what impressed you the most about her freshman season?
I think the thing about Elle is you'd say all that to her and she'd be so disappointed with it. She just wants more and more and more. She wants to be the best. She wants to score the most goals. She's never content. I think she's never content, but at the same time she's so incredibly modest that she has no idea how good she is, and I think even more importantly, no idea how good she can be. So yeah, I mean, you can't not be excited to work with a player like that. I can't wait to get her back on the grass, to add some different elements to her game as well. And the goal, you know, when you have a striker as lethal as that is, how can we get her in additional areas to score? How can we get her the ball more frequently? How can we add an additional attacking element to the game to get her in some dangerous areas to score and create more goals?
How much better do you think that she's gotten? Have you checked in with her during the off season? Just what's the ceiling for her this
year? She doesn't have a ceiling. I genuinely believe that. I think she's got the ability to be one of the top players in the league. I think she can be one of the top players in the country. My belief in her is unwavering, and she knows that. And yeah, I think the sky is the absolute limit. And that's, hopefully this year she kicks on from a really impressive freshman season, and she just keeps getting better.
You're returning almost all of your goal scorers from a year ago. How important do you feel that is, just building off of last year's success and now seeing what they can do now?
Yeah, it's important, but then equally as much as we've got some additional goal scorers coming in as well. So, you know, last year I think we started on average of 6 freshmen a game. You know, we say frequently to recruits, you know, if you're good enough, you're old enough. It doesn't matter to us, you know, how old you are, what your background is, or, you know, what your experience is. If you're able to compete every day in training, you're going to play here. And that's what that freshman class brought us. So as well as the goal scorers, it's everybody that contributes to that on a daily basis that we're able to bring back and to continue to grow, and that had incredible growth even in the spring. So the players that we had last year, they're already better because we had a spring to grow them as players, to teach them, to educate them, to play together, like I said, in a low pressure environment because there's no game. So that class comes in with a little more experience, a little more expectation now than there's a fearless freshman, right? So that'll be interesting to see how they handle that. But so far they're integrating the freshmen incredibly, which is really exciting. So I think, yes, the goal scorers that we have, you know, are already a threat, but then we have some more coming too, which is exciting.
Talking with Chanticleer women's soccer head coach Joe Chubb on the Chant Pod presented by Revolution Mortgage. Tamlin Parks, friend of the podcast, she was on one of our early episodes last year. 5 goals, 5 assists last year. What makes her such a dynamic player?
Tam's unpredictable. I think that's one of the best parts of her game is she's, you know, for example, she plays primarily on the left, but she's right-footed. She can beat you down the line. She can cross and assist her teammates. She can cut inside and use a dominant right foot and score herself. She's technically so proficient that she can come inside. She can play in small spaces. She's so athletic that she's got a real burst of pace that she can get in behind. So for a defender, she's tough to play against because do you mark her closely and try and limit her space, but then she'll beat you in behind? Do you give her the space, but she's great on the dribble? So I think her unpredictability is her biggest asset. She's one that we had a good spring, and going into the fall, we want to add layers to her game to make her even more dangerous. Yeah,
you talk about the youth of this team, the new freshmen coming in, some transfers coming in. Who are some new names that could really step up and make a big impact for this 2025 team?
Yeah, honestly, I could name any of them. But I think it's again, as people as much as players, they're such a fun group. I think we've got Jasmine. She's coming in. She can play in an array of positions, which is really exciting for us. So she's not only going to be in contention to start, I think, immediately, but she could offer depth options in multiple roles. She's technically incredible, which allows us to we want to control the game by having the ball, and she's going to allow us to have the ball, to progress the ball, and to be really dangerous in the final third. But I think even more than any of that, she's so intelligent, and I think that's something that she brings to us in abundance. She has national team experience for Romania, which, you know, she'll use that experience here as well, I believe, to be able to not have that fear going into some of the bigger games, because she's played on the biggest stage already. I think Cansu, she's a girl from Turkey that we've managed to get. She had a spring with us, which was really important, a big adjustment phase for her. Again, the unpredictability. She's a cheeky player to where she loves to. She has so much fun when she plays. You know, she's incredibly structured, but you can see she's playing with a smile on her face all the time. She'll try the the little tricks and the little pieces to beat you. I think
Crafty.
she'll be the player where the crowd are going to be oohing and ahhing at her a little bit, because she'll pull something out the bag. But she's an incredibly hard worker, incredibly coachable, and more than any of that, she elevates the team environment tenfold. She's an absolute joy to be around. So, and then I think from local, we've got Caitlin Britt coming in. She's a high school standout. She's from North Carolina, so again, close by. Like I said, there's an abundance of talent in this area, and she's a proven goal scorer. So, you know, when we say that we've got returning goals coming, we've got added ones coming as well. She's going to be a threat from anywhere. You know, can score with about every part of her body. But again, her intelligence to put herself in goal scoring situations is something that at times we struggled with last year, that this year she's going to add again to make us even more dangerous.
You know, I know when I'm talking soccer and I'm broadcasting soccer, I get really excited about the players that score a lot of goals and add a lot of points and all that. But defense is so important. And kind of just give me an idea of what your defense can offer this year.
They're going to be brave. I think that's going to be the best word for them. I think it's an area, again, that we focused on massively, to where we want to be disciplined defensively, but they're going to be brave. We've got players that are willing to step, to get into those crunching tackles, to win the ball, to be more vocal, to make sure that we are pressing, defending as a team. I think you'll see a real team performance when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. And again, we've got experience. We've got a lot of national team experience, particularly in our back line. You know, and I think when you've played at that stage, not much else scares you. So it's coming in, although again, we're going to have a very young back line. The experience and the talent that's going to be in it is going to be vital, I think, to success. And then, you know, we can't obviously forget the goalkeeping role as well. Again, very young there, 2 freshmen and a sophomore, but an abundance of talent where they will push each other every day in training, but also be each other's biggest supporter from the sideline, which is exciting.
It should be a fun battle to see who's going to win that starting spot.
Really
fun for you.
Really fun.
Make some tough decisions.
Yeah, hopefully some good headaches.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you're entering, like I talked about, entering year number 3.
Yep.
Just how much more comfortable do you feel, you know, back with this team, back in Conway, just, you know, you've been in this area for a while. So how does that kind of help the confidence level?
It's home now, you know. So I think it's something when you feel comfortable yourself, you're able to perform at your best. And you know, it's no secret, this was my first head coaching role. So incredibly comfortable in that now as well. You know, more comfortable in myself, more confident in the decisions I'm making. I have a tremendous staff working with me on a daily basis, you know, from academics to strength to athletic training to obviously my immediate staff as well. We're surrounded by, you know, not only experts in their field, but incredible people. And I think the girls feel that every day as well. You know, they feel that we are a staff that ultimately wants to serve them, that are very student athlete service driven, you know, to help them become better players and better people. And when we've got a staff that are all on the same page with that common goal, it's really enjoyable to be around.
Coach, I'll close it out with this one, but what are you most excited for when this 2025 season kicks off? What are you looking forward to the most out of this group?
I just want to, I think just seeing you know, game 1 is always exciting. You know, seeing the smiles on their faces when that day comes around. You know, they said to me the other day, we've got, I think even just to the first scrimmage, they were like, 12 days. And I was like, not that you're counting.
They're ready.
So they're so excited. And, you know, like I said, we are young, but we are talented. And I just, this group as a whole, I think hopefully getting the rewards that they so desperately deserve. You know, as a coach, that's the most fulfilling thing.
Teal Nation, you'll see them soon, but the uniforms this year are sick. Yes. Really. Do you have any input on that?
Yeah, so I do. That's one thing that I take a lot of pride in. So last year, obviously, the ones with the flowers on, the floral ones, the black ones, and then these ones. Yeah, it's a staff collaboration. We work really closely with our equipment guy, who's amazing as well. But yeah, we want the girls, you know, feel good, look good, play good. It's they look pretty sharp though. They come out even better than I thought. So
great soccer coach, great uniform designer.
There we go. Yeah, there we go. Add that to the resume.
That's right. Yeah, Coach, we appreciate the time. This is awesome, and I can't wait to see your team this year.
Thank you.
It was awesome to check in with Coach after their squad put together a winning season last year, and their 2025 campaign starts next week. Their first match is against Kennesaw State on Thursday, August 14th in Conway at 7 p.m. Expecting some big things from women's soccer this year, so come check out the CCU Soccer Stadium, which is only getting better now in its second season of use, and cheer on the Chants this season. Men's soccer is beginning their exhibition matches by bringing in number 15 Duke to Conway on Friday. They're traveling to Gardner-Webb next Monday and will finish out with USC Upstate on Friday, August 15th, before their 2025 regular season begins in Rock Hill against Winthrop, August 21st. That'll cap off this episode of the Chant Pod, presented by Revolution Mortgage. Thanks again to Coach Chubb for previewing this year's team, and we'll be back with more episodes as our fall season gets underway. Talk to you soon, Teal Nation. I'm Sam Wiederhaft, signing off. Chants up.